Title: The Blood Manor's Secret. The moonless night swallowed Blackwell Woods whole, the trees clawing at the sky like skeletal hands. 5 figures huddled at the edge of the forest, their flashlights slicing through the gloom to fixate on the silhouette of Blood Manor. Its jagged turrets pierced the clouds, and its boarded-up windows seemed to stare back, daring them to come closer. "Bet you'll chicken out, Lila," Jake sneered, his smirk illuminated by the faint glow of his phone. He was the kind of guy who'd jump off a cliff if someone double-dog dared him, his leather jacket and reckless grin masking a fear he'd never admit. Lila rolled her eyes, adjusting her glasses. "This place is just rotting wood and rust. Let's get this over with." A skeptic by nature, she'd agreed to the dare only to prove the legends wrong: disappearances, haunted walls, a curse spanning centuries. All nonsense. Probably. Ethan, clutching a battered notebook filled with local history, cleared his throat. In 1892, the owner, Alastair Blackwell, murdered his entire family here. Their bodies were never found. The townsfolk say they're ghosts still. He trailed off as Maya, the quiet artist of the group, gripped his arm. Her sketchbook trembled in her hands, charcoal smudged across her fingers. "What if the stories are true?" Maya whispered. Ryan, the 5th member, said nothing. His fingers brushed the locket hidden beneath his shirt, its surface etched with a faded crest, a crest matching the one above Blood Manor's crumbling gate. They crossed the threshold. The door slammed shut behind them with a finality that stole the air from their lungs. Lila whipped around, her flashlight beam skittering across the entrance hall. The walls, once grand, were now cracked and weeping. Not water, thick, dark blood oozed from the plaster, pooling on the floorboards. It crept upward, forming words in jagged cursive: "Leave or join US." "Old pipes," Lila said, her voice brittle. "Rust looks like blood. Happens in old buildings." A disembodied scream tore through the air, so loud and raw it rattled their bones. Maya's flashlight flickered, casting strobe-like flashes on a portrait hanging above the staircase. Alastair Blackwell's painted eyes followed them, his lips curled in a smile that didn't match the madness in his gaze. They pressed on, their footsteps echoing through corridors that seemed to shift and twist. The dining room materialized next, its grand table set with moldering food and tarnished silverware. Ghostly figures flickered into existence: a woman in a Victorian gown, 2 children in lace collars, a man in a tailcoat. "Alastair." He raised a wine glass, his spectral family mirroring the motion. Then the vision twisted, the family clutched their throats, their faces purpling as they collapsed. "Poison. They're trapped here," Ethan murmured, pale. "Reenacting their deaths, forever." Ryan stumbled back, his locket burning against his chest. Fragmented memories surged, a story his grandmother had whispered, about a bastard son spared from Alastair's wrath. His ancestor. The library came next. Books flew from shelves, their pages flapping like panicked birds. A chorus of screams erupted from the paper, voices of those who died in the manor. Jake laughed, a hollow sound, until a shadow detached from the wall and slammed him against a bookshelf. The entity's voice boomed, shaking the room: "You will feed the house." "It wants fear," Maya said, her voice steadying. "Don't give in." But the house was relentless. They fled to the nursery, where a rocking chair creaked empty. A child's ghost materialized, her dress stained with blood. "Daddy heard us," she whispered, her voice echoing from the walls, the floor, the air itself. Ryan collapsed, gripping his skull as the truth crashed over him. His bloodline tied him to the curse. To Alastair. I'm connected to this place," he choked out. In the attic, they found Alastair's journal. Ethan's hand shook as he read aloud. The madman had bargained with a dark entity for immortality, trapping souls to sustain himself. The only escape was destroying his physical heart, hidden in the crypt below the manor. The crypt was a nightmare of cobwebs and rot, the air thick with the stench of decay. At its center sat a glass case, a grotesque, pulsing heart inside. Jake smashed it with a fire poker, triumph flashing across his face, until Lila's laughter cut through the silence. It wasn't her voice. Her eyes turned black as pitch, her body contorting. The entity spoke through her, fools. The heart was a decoy. Ryan's blood is the key. Ryan recoiled, clutching his locket. Inside was a vial of dried blood, Alistair's blood passed down through generations. The entity needed it to fully manifest. I didn't know, he pleaded as the walls began to bleed faster, shadows coalescing into clawed hands. Maya lunged for the vial, her artist's reflexes quicker than the rest. Without hesitation, she drank it. The entity shrieked, the house shuddering as if in pain. Run, Maya screamed, her veins turning black beneath her skin. They fled as the manor collapsed behind them, dawn breaking over the woods. But when they reached town, gasping for breath, no one remembered Blood Manor. Not the librarian, not the bartender, not even the old woman who'd warned them to stay away. Maya smiled faintly, her eyes lingering on the horizon. We did it, she said. No one noticed the shadows pooling in her pupils.